I'm VJ Hamilton and welcome to the Autoimmune Reset, the place for you to learn how to thrive with autoimmune disease and feel empowered to take steps to transform your health to feel better than ever. You can start making changes today to improve your health. So with every episode, my mission is to share with you simple ways to up-level your diet and lifestyle with key learnings from my own journey reversing autoimmune disease and inspirational stories from those who have reset their autoimmune symptoms and are now thriving in life. I suffered from autoimmune disease for over 25 years and now I live symptom-free, and I wish the same for you as well. So thank you for being here and sharing this time with me. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome to this Friday 5 episode of the Autoimmune Reset Podcast. I'm your host, VJ Hamilton. I'm a nutritionist, scientist, and expert in autoimmune disease. And today I want to talk to you about anxiety from a physiological perspective. Because in clinic, I very rarely see anxiety that exists in isolation. And it's something that I lived with for so many years. And I didn't really have a name for it at the time. But looking back, I was probably living with anxiety since I was a teenager. And that's really when my symptoms started ramping up. And I see the same with my clients now because, yes, I still get anxious, but I don't live with anxiety anymore. And there is a difference. And what I often see is blood sugar, instability, I see overstimulation, I see gut inflammation, mineral depletion that can contribute to anxiety. And I see nervous systems that are simply doing too much for too long. And that is where the issue starts. So this is going to be in two parts because first I want to go through 5 dietary shifts that I think can genuinely help you when it comes to anxiety physiology. And then I'd like to talk you through 5 of my go-to nutrients that I use frequently in clinic when I am working with clients who have anxiety. They might not have even come to me because of the anxiety. They might have come to me because they have a different condition or an autoimmune condition or hair loss. If they are living in anxiety, then their nervous system is in that hypervigilant state. And it means that they are in a fight or flight state as well. And because of that, it is going to be far harder to see changes in your health. We just need to calm everything down. And this is the way that we approach it. So let's start with food. And the first one is to reduce any stimulatory food because some foods are inherently activating your nervous system. And this includes coffee. And yes, even 1 cup can be too much for a sensitive individual. And it also includes green tea and matcha, which is something that I love. And I find I can tolerate that more because it has L-theanine in it, which is particularly helpful. And I'm going to mention this one later as well. And it can help calm down the nervous system. So sometimes the double whammy effect of that means that green tea and matcha tea are more well tolerated by somebody who is caffeine sensitive, but it's in dark chocolate, it's in energy drinks, it's in very high cacao products, and it's in large amounts of raw cacao powder if you're using that for making smoothies. And even certain clean pre-workouts or adaptogenic blends can be surprisingly stimulatory. And there is a debate around whether ashwagandha stimulates the immune system from an autoimmune perspective as well. So if you're feeling wired and tired, if you're waking up at 3 a.m. experiencing palpitations or feeling internally jittery, I will often trial a simple 2-week stimulation reduction with my clients. And a lot of them see remarkable improvements just by doing this alone. Because sometimes we don't need more coping tools. You might have already weaved in a lot of tools to help you with your stress, but we actually need less stimulation. And I am just talking about food today, but we can think about this in other aspects of our lives when it comes to our phone use or the films we're watching or the things that we're doing as well. Next is to stabilize your blood sugar because blood sugar dips trigger adrenaline. And that is a physiological fact. If you skip breakfast, eat a high-carb lunch without protein, or go for long gaps between meals, all things I used to be guilty of, your body compensates by releasing cortisol and adrenaline to bring glucose back up. That adrenaline surge feels exactly like anxiety. So the foundational shifts are simple but powerful. Aim for 25 to 35 grams of protein per meal. I mean, it does depend on your side, but that is a good go-to. Or just think of a palm-sized amount of protein or a hand-sized amount of protein with every meal to help stabilize your blood sugar. Always pair carbohydrates with fat and protein. Don't just eat carbs alone because they can cause your blood sugar to spike, and it's the crash that can cause this reaction. And avoid coffee on an empty stomach as well, because that can affect your blood sugar. And please don't push through hunger. I know I have done this in the past when I've been doing lots of fasting. Some people's bodies just aren't made for that. And in order to reset your blood sugar, eating protein is going to be the best approach. And eating regular meals, yes, having a nice long break in between meals, but eating them at intermittent parts of the day can make a big difference. And this one intervention alone can be transformative for people who might be feeling shaky, irritable, and anxious in the afternoon or evening. Next is to reduce ultra-processed foods and high sugar foods, because highly processed foods can spike glucose, they can increase inflammatory cytokines, and they disrupt the microbiome and increase gut permeability. Inflammation alters neurotransmitter production as well through something called the kynurenine pathway, and it's something that I look at when I'm testing clients as part of the metabolomics test that I have, which I call the cell health test. But it will look at something called quinolinic acid, and we can see from that their body is favoring that more inflammatory pathway, because inflammatory signaling actually genuinely shifts your serotonin metabolism, so that happy hormone. So the more processed the diet, the more volatile your mood can become. And this isn't about perfection, it's about frequency, and the nervous system prefers predictability every time and nutrient density over the chaos of eating processed foods and having glucose spikes is always going to be favourable. Next is supporting the gut-brain axis, because your microbiome produces GABA, which is a inhibitory neurotransmitter. It's really important for feeling calm and relaxed and helping with sleep. It's where your serotonin is produced, and these things called short-chain fatty acids, which are so important for your mood and immune system. And I am sure there is going to be more research to show their benefits as well. And if your gut integrity is compromised, inflammatory compounds like lipopolysaccharide, also referred to as LPS, can enter into circulation, and this can cause neuroinflammation as well. So simple steps matter. If you're not eating plenty of vegetables and fruits and high fiber foods, then that can really help with your gut health, making sure you're staying hydrated, eating lots of polyphenols. I mean, these are the things that the gut microbiome feeds on. And then if you're able to include some fermented foods, but what I often find with my clients is they are just not ready for the fermented foods at the point of working together. If you are, then having some sauerkraut. I really love a fennel sauerkraut, which I now include. I have apple cider vinegar. I will have kefir. There are things now that I'm able to tolerate. I don't eat masses of these foods, but I do like to incorporate them a couple of times a day. If you have gut issues, then eating cooked vegetables rather than excessive raw foods can be helpful, because the raw foods can be quite hard to digest, and support digestion if bloating or reflux is present, because that is a sign that there are imbalances in your gut. And a calm gut very often precedes a calm mind. If you are having anxiety and panic attacks and you've got gut symptoms, definitely join the dots and start working on both of those together. And lastly, increasing mineral density, because modern diets are often calorically dense but mineral poor, and they will have low magnesium, low potassium, and low trace minerals increase nervous system excitability, which is what we are looking to avoid when it comes to anxiety. The nervous system is electrical. Minerals stabilize electrical signaling. So think simple shifts, whether it's bringing in an electrolyte or a good quality Himalayan pink salt or a Celtic salt, just having a little bit of that either mixed in water or on your food, including slow cooked meats, using bone broth, eating pumpkin seeds, and rotating your leafy greens as well can make a huge difference. So just making sure that you're getting all those key minerals. These are not dramatic interventions, but they can make such a difference. So now let's move to the second part of this episode, where I'm just going to go through my 5 favourite nutrients for anxiety support. And the first one is magnesium, because it helps to regulate the NMDA receptors, which help to calm neuronal firing. And many people that have magnesium really feel the difference. I know when I had anxiety, it was one of the things that I could feel the difference from taking almost straight away. I mean, not straight away, but within 10 to 20 minutes of having magnesium, I'd feel the difference. And I use it with clients now, especially before bed. The next is phosphatidylserine, which is one of my favorites if you have elevated evening cortisol. So if your circadian rhythm is out, because it helps to modulate stress signaling, it improves your sleep quality. It's something that I will take when I have more going on in my life and I feel like my brain is more switched on, and it really helps me calm down before going to sleep. It is included in one of the supplements that Body Bio does called Calm, and I'll often take that before bed, or there is one called Cerephos as well, which is quite high strength phosphatidylserine, but I've seen some of my clients do really well with that too. Next is L-theanine, which, as I mentioned earlier, is naturally found in green tea. But you can take it, and obviously if you take it on its own, it is without the caffeine, and it promotes alpha brainwaves, which are associated with calm focus. So it can really help with social anxiety or pre-meeting nerves. I find when I take it, I just feel really sleepy, and it's something that I was using a lot quite a number of years ago, and now I don't find that I need L-theanine as much, but it's probably because I have so much matcha that I don't need the added amount from a supplement either. Next is glycine, which is an underrated amino acid, and it supports GABA production. It can help with sleep quality again, and blood sugar regulation, which, as I said, that can be a factor when it comes to anxiety. So you can take it before bed. I like the powder version. Just mix it up, have a bit of that, maybe mix it with some cranberry powder. It's a really nice thing just to have before bed. And lastly are omega-3 fatty acids, particularly the EPA-rich formulas, because omega-3s reduce neuroinflammation, and this can be at the heart of anxiety. So there's a lot of robust evidence linking omega-3 with mood regulation, and it can be helpful for anxiety, hormonal volatility, and if you're finding that your mood is changing throughout your cycle, then it can be helpful as well. So as I said, if you are looking to include these types of supplements in your diet, work with a practitioner as always, because they can guide you on what's going to be right for you, because some of these supplements might be contraindicated with your condition or your medication. But I will put the link to Body Bio because I love their products, and I particularly like their Calm product, which I use myself, and my sister uses it, and we've all just noticed how good our sleep has been. It's the type of sleep where I read a couple of pages of my book, I fall asleep, and I don't wake up until I'm ready to get up. And I just love that. And that is life-changing for me, because I look back to where I was 10 years ago and I wasn't even getting more than 10 minutes of deep sleep. And I was waking up at least 3 or 4 times during the night. So this is a massive change for me. And I've done lots of other things, but it just makes a big difference. And I think it just shows how my nervous system is a lot calmer now as well. So as always, if you would like to share this episode with somebody you think might benefit from it, then please do so. And remember, anxiety is not a weakness in any way. It's often physiological and asking for some form of regulation. So start with food, stabilize the systems, and then you can layer in these other nutrients when you feel ready. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to head over to my Instagram account at the Autoimmunity Nutritionist. If not, have a fantastic weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Thank you very much for joining me today on the Autoimmune Reset. I really hope you enjoyed the discussion, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode. And if you liked it, I would hugely appreciate a review on iTunes, as it helps me understand what you like about the podcast and to help share the information with more people. I'm excited to speak to you next time. And remember, you have the power to take the reins on your health. So keep the faith and celebrate the small wins. Until next time.